Today I have for you a flip-through review of the new self-love journal from JMB Living. I did purchase this journal during the Kickstarter campaign that JMB Living had recently. Now, I have reviewed JMB Living before. I will make sure to pop that video up here. And I have used their journal. Now, I think I've used 2 journals now. Like, I've used one when it was their version where it had the entire page was one day. And then I also used the newer version when they switched it. I believe it was just this past year for 2023. They switched it over to the days are now like half the page. And also when they made that switch, they also made a change in the paper. And so honestly, I was not happy about that paper change. However, this journal and then journals that they are currently making, like right now you could get their fall issue, the fall 2023 issue. They've changed their paper back to the original paper. I'm very happy about that because I definitely was a little bit annoyed. My pen would skip and that did not happen in their older version. So I will be doing like a pen test in here to kind of make sure that that is the case, but everything is telling me that they have changed it back. So I'm very excited about this. If you are not new here, then you know that I am all about self-care and prioritizing taking care of yourself. And on my channel, I like to review products that help you in that direction and on that journey. So this is a great journal that I think that you guys are going to love. It's a little bit different, but very similar to the JMB Living. The main difference is this is undated. With their other products, those are dated and they are based on the season. So I just mentioned the fall 2023 one is available right now. And that one runs from October, November, and December. So it's 3 months and those are dated. This undated, perfect for someone who wants to journal for maybe like a month and then take a break. And then you can jump back and journal for another month. Or you don't want to start with like whatever the JMB Living seasons are. Maybe you find yourself at a point in the year where you're like, you know what, I just want to start journaling now. And maybe it's already like in the middle of one of those journals. Then you can just pick this up. Something that I love about undated journals, I'm not a big fan of undated planners, but undated journals, I think that's great because then you can just do it whenever you want, whenever you feel like you need that a little bit of extra processing. So let's go ahead and jump into this journal for you. The cover is like a thicker cardstock and it feels really nice. It feels a lot like their other products. So if you've ever had any of the JMB Living journals, the cover feels very much like that. And it's just very soft and it's pleasing to the touch. It is a wire O binding, but I've never had any issues with mine. This one actually looks a little bit like it got bent, but I have never had any issues with using mine. And like I said, those journals are like 3 months long. So in the 3 months of using those journals, I've never had any issues with the binding. So right away, the journal starts with some notes. This is like basically a note from Julie, the editor and founder of JMB Living. And it has an area for you to write your name and phone number and email just in case you lose the journal. And then it has a spot like for you to write a little commitment to yourself. Basically recommends that you commit to 5 minutes a day to journaling. And it also has a little disclaimer basically to be careful and consider your own lifestyle and health before you follow any of the suggestions in the journal, that all of the contributed content belongs to the creator and is not affiliated with JMB Living, and as such the features are not a reflection of JMB Living's views and is not endorsed or recommended by JMB Living. If you are unfamiliar, that might have sounded a little bit weird. JMB Living has a lot of articles and content that is submitted by people outside of JMB Living. So Julie did not write all the articles and things in here. She receives submissions within, the community, and a lot of that stuff is in it. And it'll have recommendations on things to do related to basically the theme of that week. It's just a little disclaimer to make sure that you understand that. And I'm actually looking at this journal for the first time with you guys, so bear with me. Okay, so this is interesting. This page actually breaks down all of the different themes in the journal, and it's asking you to come back to this page when you are finished each week. So this is something you're going to want to bookmark and come back to at the end of every week and list out your basically takeaways. So for the first week's theme, it's thoughts, and then it's got space for you to list out your own thoughts about that theme for that week. So I think this is cool because then in one fell swoop, when you're completed the journal, which it should be a 3-month process, like 90 days type thing, you'll have like an overview of all the things that you learned. So I think that's actually a really cool page right there. Then you have a page for basically almost like a vision board. So you can do whatever you want with this. And then you jump into a habit tracker page. The habit trackers are only 30 days each. So keep that in mind. So if it's a month that is 31 days, you're only going to have enough space to track the habit for 30 days. And there's only enough for 5 habits. This used to be dispersed in the JMB Living journal. It used to be dispersed like throughout, where each month you would have a page that was, used to be like a habit circle, and each month you'd have multiple habits that you could track. Actually, I think it was only 2 habits, but they've kind of condensed that into this one page. So if habit tracking is something that you want to do, then you're also going to want to make sure you come back to this page daily so that you can keep track of those habits that you are trying to build. Then you have a page with some affirmations so that you can kind of have some ideas for affirmations that you might want to create, because I believe there's a space for you to list out affirmations on the daily pages. Now this page I feel like is something that is cool to return to when you have those moments when you realize, wait a minute, I'm having a negative thought. How can I reframe this to a more positive one? And then you can come back to this page and list out what that negative thought was and then how you basically reframed it. And then you have this massive page with a whole bunch of journal prompts. I haven't even read through any of this. Like I said, this is my first time going through this journal and haven't watched anybody's video or anything like that because I wanted to go through this like organically with you. But basically, if you are having some blocks, I guess, about what you want to journal about that day, you can turn to this page. I probably would bookmark it or like fold this page down to kind of mark it to repeatedly come back to, and I might come back and highlight some of these things that I might feel like are good ones. Let's see. What are you resisting feeling? Can you allow yourself to explore a tiny facet of this and breathe into whatever feeling comes up? So good. These are going to be, these are going to be some good ones. Now you have a month calendar, and I'm pretty sure you're probably going to have, you're going to have all the months up front, just like in the other JMB Living journal that is dated. So you've got a spot to write down what the month is, and these start on Sundays. So it goes from Sunday to Saturday. If you are a Monday calendar start person, you could easily redate this since you're already basically going to date the whole thing anyway. You could redate the days of the week and move it to where it's like this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to satisfy that if that's a better suit to you. You have a spot to list out what your intention for the month is. And then there's always some kind of recommendations here listed. And you have the 3 calendar months. And then here is like one of the articles that I was talking about. So dispersed throughout the journal, you will have a whole bunch of stuff like this where it's contributed by people in the community. So this one was from Megan Watson. She's a registered psychotherapist. Whatever these words are, those were from her, not from Julie. And then this is basically how the weeks start. So over here on the left, you have the explanation of the theme. So for this first week, It's about thoughts, and it's got a little bit of a brief prompts, I guess. Usually it like kind of explains a little bit, and then it has like some questions for you to think about. And then it's got a section here. This is different than in the JMB Living Journal. So this one says, my relationship with this concept is. So you are either confident about this concept, you're okay, you're unsure, or it needs work. And then you have a spot to list how I can work through any hesitation, and then some intentions for the week. So here's where I said you are going to have a spot for affirmations. So you can list an affirmation here. What are you going to say no to this week? And what are you going to say yes to this week? And then it goes into the days. So you have that first day. So Monday would be here. Of course, you don't have to start this on a Monday or on a Sunday if you prefer to do like Sunday to Saturday, but it's broken down that way. So this would be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then there's like an article Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. So every page basically you'll have like some kind of quote, and then you'll have something here related to the theme somewhere down here. Over here, this used to be kind of broken down every day. You used to have a section where you would list out like your wins and the beauty you noticed and what gave you joy. This was like by far one of my favorite parts of the original JMB Living Journal, was listing these things out and pointing them out during the day. And they've kind of condensed it to where it's this section down here at the bottom. You can see how it doesn't even have a spot for that for this first day. So if that's something that you want to do, you would have to kind of make space. And I've done that before where I've listed out, like I've taken these last few lines and I've written like win, beauty, joy, so that I can have dedicated space for each day. But here is where you list out your thoughts. And this is where those journal prompts earlier will come in handy, because if you kind of just are not sure what you want to write about, you could refer to those journal prompts and see if something triggers something that you want to write. Personally, I've always journaled in a way where I am basically processing on paper how my day went or my feelings. So sometimes my journaling is just like, and I've been journaling since I was a teenager, and usually just in like a lined notebook. And I usually would just like list out, this is what happened today. And as in the course of writing that stuff, I would remember things, thoughts and feelings that I had about those moments, and I would maybe write those down. And then sometimes I would work through them. Sometimes if I'm having a decision that I need to make, sometimes I just go straight to writing it, and I almost write it like I'm writing a letter to somebody, or as if I'm talking to somebody else and talking through my thoughts and ideas about something. So that's just kind of an example, but you could use this, since it's not a lot of space, you could use it just to do like a quick rundown of how the day went. You can use it only for jotting down like how you took care of yourself that day. And this is like whenever I got the sample copy for this, that's how I did it. And that's how I'm planning on using this one when I do jump into this. I'm planning on using this my thoughts section to journal about the actual theme for the week. So every day, what I did when I had that sample week was I would sit down and I would write down like my gratitude and what I love. And then I would read this over again, even though I read it at the beginning of the week, read it over again to see if there's anything that I want to write about, maybe related to that particular day that ties to that theme. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if I didn't make any sense and Lauren needs to do this video all over again. But hopefully that made sense. But doing it that way actually was really like, oh my gosh. And I think that's kind of how Julie has intended these journals to be done. And I personally, in the past with the regular JMB Living Journal, I would read through the thing and I would only read it once. And then I never really returned to it. And I just kind of, every day I had my prompts and I would just fill out the prompts and it would just kind of do a brief word vomit of whatever I felt like and move on. I didn't actually keep returning to the theme of the week. And I think the best way for this journal to really make a difference is if you do it that way, where you read this over every single day that you're sitting down to do this. And now you can do this at night or you can do this in the morning. I know that I was very successful with sitting down in the morning for a portion of it, and then in the evening I would sit down because that was when it was just all on one page. With this new format, I actually prefer to do it in the morning, and especially if I'm going to be thinking about this. And so I could basically, since the day's barely started, I can't really point out actual moments in the day that have happened yet, but I could kind of like future plan in a way and see how whatever my schedule is that day, how can I like intertwine what's happening in my schedule and bring some of the theme into my day and be like mindful about this theme throughout the day. And I could potentially journal like in that way, or I could think about the night before. I can think about the day before and how that day went and maybe journal like in that respect. So if you have any other ideas, let me know, but there is a spot up here at the top for you to list out the date. And it's basically the same. And at the end of the week, you do have reflection questions, which I really appreciate this because I think the previous issues, like the original JMB Living journal, they didn't really have a reflections thing. Yeah, and I remember I talked to her once about that, and I was like, sometimes I think we would get reflection questions, but we didn't really get a space for it. And I remember saying like, I wish that there was a little bit of a space for it. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one. So I love this. I'm wondering if these reflection questions are going to be the same every week. So we'll flip to the next one and find out. But how did I take care of myself this week? What is something I struggled with? And this is why I said like in here somewhere, if you want to list out what you did that day to take care of yourself, because I don't know about you, but my 4 kids have scrambled my brain, and sometimes at the end of the day, I can barely remember what even happened in that day. And to just like wait to the end of the week to like sit down and reflect on the week, like nothing would get written down. So that's why I really like doing like a daily journal prompted lately, is because it kind of helps me see every day, kind of like write it down so that I don't forget it. And then at the end of the week, I can flip through the week and see, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, this happened. Especially when you have hard weeks, like you don't realize that, well, I say hard weeks in the sense that maybe something difficult happened in the week and all of a sudden that difficult thing like clouds the entire week, and it makes you feel like the entire week was hard or that nothing good happened in the week. And so having that daily record every day has been so helpful for me to see like that, dude, this week was not even that hard. Like so much good stuff happened and I totally forgot about it because this one thing. So I really think that's one of the huge benefits of doing a journal like this, where it's guided and it's every day, is that you figure those things out, especially when you do like a weekend reflection and you flip back to the pages earlier and you're like, oh yeah, that's what happened. Again, like what is something I struggled with? You might not remember by the end of the week. Maybe something happened on Monday and it's already resolved itself. But as long as you had written it down, so write down the good, bad, and ugly. How can I change my actions and thoughts in the coming week to love and accept myself more? And most important thing I learned from this theme. That's cool. And this should prompt you to remember to go back to the beginning of the book and list out basically almost what you're writing down here in that page in the front. Is it way up front? Yeah, this one. So that should prompt you to make sure you also write it down in the front. And then this down here is going to be different. This should be different every week. And let's go see if the reflections are, wait a minute. That looks like somebody I think I know, but I don't know because there's no credit. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So these are going to be the same. So these reflection questions are the same every week. This is going to obviously change, just like the articles are kind of different. And like I said, the articles are going to be very, very focused on the theme of the week. Like this one's about body. And so the articles inside are most likely going to be like that. So I'm not going to flip through everything, but I'll just kind of do like a quick like this. You can kind of see how some of it's got, full photos with, this journal is just so beautiful. It's always been beautiful. Let me flip to the back, because at the end, okay, let's see. You've got this page. Over here, you're supposed to draw or write how you perceive yourself. And over here, you want someone else to draw or write how they see you. It also says, like, if you don't feel comfortable asking someone else, you could just attempt to see yourself from the viewpoint of someone that loves you. That would be interesting. Oh, and then this page is based on this. So insights from your reflection. So what are the differences that you notice between the two reflections? What do these differences tell you about how you see yourself? What other insights do you notice from this exercise? All right, and then at the end, you have just basically some line note spaces so you can do extra journaling or writing down ideas. Oh, and then another line page. This is blank. And I believe this back page is just some information about JMB Living. And then you have like a pocket folder back here, which I'm kind of surprised to see because they did away with this pocket in the last issues of JMB. So I'm wondering if they brought this pocket back. But let me use one of these notes pages right here to do a quick pen test for y'all. Oh, look, I forgot to show you guys that the journal came with this cute little self-care bingo card with some heart stickers that you can use to mark it. And then this cute little like paper clip that's got a little heart shape. I'm going to totally pull that paper clip out of here and stick it in my planner somewhere. But all of the journals always come in a little like linen bag like this. They don't use plastic. This one is stamped with "talk to yourself like someone you love." And so it's good to use this, like, I guess you can reuse it for whatever you want, but if you want to store your journal in it after you're done, you can. But that's how it's shipped. It's shipped in this bag inside of a like recycled cardboard mailer. So I love that Julie does that with her products and like ships them in like an eco-friendly way. So I'm just going to use some basic like pens. I'm going to use a gel pen, and I'm going to use a Dr. Grip, which is a ballpoint. And I want to say this is definitely the pen that I was using in the last JMB journal that I was in, the one that I was like complaining it was skipping, and like it's not the pen, honestly, it was the paper, because I was using the same pen in the issues before they made the change. So let's see. I'm not sure if gel pen works on here. I don't know. I don't remember if I used it or not, but I know that I definitely did not use it in the last one. All right, there is no skipping happening. I'm happy, because that other paper. And I couldn't find my journal. I don't know what I did with it. I was trying to find it for the video so I can kind of show you. All right, this was a Pentel Energel, and this is a 0.5. And I want to say this is also a 0.5 tip. They look like they're both the same, but yeah, it's definitely not giving me any problems. And I'll flip this over to the other side so you can see that there is no bleed through. I mean, you can kind of, I see a little bit of shadowing, and I can feel it because I was pushing kind of hard, I guess. But I mean, for a journal, this paper is really good. I didn't have any issues whenever they had like the original paper. It was just whenever they switched it for that. I don't know if it was for only one issue or two issues, but they'd switched it, and I was not happy. I mean, you know what it's like if you're writing in something and it just keeps on skipping, forget it. But anyway, I am so glad that I finally did this, because now I can finally dive into it and really get going with this. I haven't really been daily journaling-ish very much. I did pretty good in the beginning of the year, but over the summer I've kind of like not really, and I'm kind of like ready to get back into something. And I knew that I had this coming, and that I wanted to do this. So I'm planning on going through this straight for like the 90 day, the whole like 3 months. And I don't know, let me know in the comments if you want me to do like a follow-up video to share my thoughts about it, because this will be the first time I'm using it, like where I'm going to journal every day about the actual, well, the theme for the week. So let me know if you would be interested in me doing some kind of a follow-up video like that, and I'll see if I can make that happen. But if you like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed and you want to see more content like this, then make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.